So yesterday's cold's gotten worse. The weather has also gotten worse. So instead of vlogging all the way to Kamikawa, where we're heading, I think we'll just show you some B-roll of the journey to Kamikawa, 3 train rides long. And when we get there, we'll sit down and have a chat. So apparently we made it to Kamikawa, which is a suitcase. You want your suitcase? Tyler almost left his suitcase on the train. Apparently we made it to Kamikawa, which is a really important place for my history, my life, and we're actually not staying right in town, but we'll come back here tomorrow or the next day and I'll talk about that. But man, I'm sick. Just got this nasty cold, so I think we're gonna go to Sunkyo because that's where we're staying. There's no hotel here in Kamikawa. We're gonna go to Sunkyo and check into our hotel, and then I'll talk to you guys about this and why the hell we're in Kamikawa, Japan. Okay, made it to my hotel, and if I sound sick, it's because I am. If I look sick, it's just because I'm ugly. But I'm here in this town called Sunkyo, in Sunkyo, Japan, which is just outside of Kamikawa, Japan. And I'm sorry that I'm going to be smashing back some green tea as I do this, but I'll start coughing like a crazy person if I don't keep drinking. Now, I said that at the end of this video I'd explain why I'm in Kamikawa, which is just down the hill, 30 minutes away from this little kind of strange resort town here. And I think telling you guys why I'm here will give you guys like an insight into my history, my travel history, my life history, kind of give you perspective about my life in general. When I was 12 years old, I found at my school there was a student exchange to Japan. We had a sister city, I would find out, called Kamikawa, Japan. And at 12 years old, I begged my parents to allow me to be a part of the program, but it was like $2,000, and I don't come from a wealthy family. My family's okay, we're middle class, and it's great, but definitely not the type of family that has enough money to be splashing around thousands of dollars for student exchanges or things like that. But I begged and begged, and I can be pretty persistent, I think. And at the time, at 12 years old, I was getting an allowance of $5 a week. $5 Canadian a week, which at the time was like $2 American or $3 American. And so I told my parents, you can stop giving me allowance forever if you let me go on this trip. And on top of it, I'll mow lawns like crazy, I'll work it off. And somehow they agreed. I really honestly didn't think there was any way they were gonna agree to this, but they did. And so that summer, at age 12, a Japanese kid from this town of Kamikawa, a kid named Akihiro Aida, came to my hometown in Rocky for the summer. And as 12-year-olds, we really bonded. We were both into sports. We had a lot in common, and we just got on. We became like best buddies. He was like my Japanese half. He was like the Japanese version of me, and it was really cool. And then when that summer was over, he went back to Japan. The next summer, when I was 13, I went to Japan. I went here to Kamikawa, and I wasn't on my own. I was with my school. There was like 10 people that were a part of this program. We went to Tokyo, we spent a couple days in Kyoto, and then we came here to Kamikawa, and I spent the summer with this family in Japan. And it was life-changing. It was like a Brendan bar mitzvah. You know, it was where I stopped being a kid and started becoming an adult, or at least stopped being a kid and started becoming a teenager. It was like my coming of age trip. I'm from this small town in Alberta, and it's a very small world there. 6,000 people. It's not like a worldly town by any stretch of the imagination. And this trip kind of like opened me up to seeing that there was a bigger world, and that some of the things that they do outside of my hometown is really awesome. And there's people outside of my hometown that are really awesome. And the trip really sparked my curiosity. And there's really like 4 moments or 5 moments on that trip that are so vivid in my mind still to this day. I remember having some sort of celebration and running around with fireworks. I remember going to this fish pond, fishing our own fish, and then eating it. That was the first place I ever tried sushi, and I hated it. I almost puked when I ate sashimi for my first time. I didn't like it, and I love it now, but when I was in Japan, I wasn't a fan. I also remember going into this ramen shop in Kamikawa, sitting down to have ramen, and I was trying to be polite. The soup was hot, and I was trying not to slurp, and the chef was just staring at me. Like, there was something wrong with me. And I just went like, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? And the family said, if you don't eat your soup fast and you don't make lots of noise while you're eating it, the chef thinks it's not good. And it was like a challenge, because it was the best ramen I'd ever had in my life. And I grew up on Ichiban, like the packed noodle soup, so I knew what ramen was. I knew what the noodles were, but this was like next level. And I took that challenge and I just mashed down that soup. And I remember being so proud that I was the first one done my bowl of soup. And that's a really vivid memory. I remember spending time with the family, playing video games, not with Akihiro and Akihiro's little brother. I remember all these things really vividly, but I remember moments. I don't remember the town. I couldn't tell you where the house was. I couldn't tell you where the schools are. I couldn't tell you anything, because it's those moments that are important rather than the destinations. I know we went to an onsen. I know we went to the coast, but none of those things and those destinations are important. It was the people. It was that exchange of culture and just the camaraderie of it all. That's what changed me. And that to this day is kind of like the mantra I've been following. It's not the destination, it's the journey, and it's the people. Now, I'm back here in Kamikawa 20 years later. I lost contact with Akihiro basically as soon as I left Japan. When I left Japan, he sent me a letter to my hometown in Rocky Mountain House, and I had the mail and I lost it. I lost the letter that had his address on it, and I just never got back to him. So I lost contact immediately after I got back when I was 13. And I thought, if I ever go back to Japan, I want to go to that town, I want to go to Kamikawa and see if I can find him or his family. And that's kind of what we're doing. But we only have one day to do it, and I have no idea how we're going to do it. I've sent a bunch of emails off to people that might know where they are, and I've gotten no response. I've sent emails to the mayor of Kamikawa, to the tourism office, to the information office, to town hall in Kamikawa, and I've gotten no responses. Kamikawa is only about 4,000 people big. It's like my hometown. And I know if somebody 20 years later was to go to my hometown and ask, do you know the Vansons? Or do you know Brendan Vanson or anybody in Brendan Vanson's family? It would probably only take 4 or 5 people before they found somebody that knew me or knew my parents or would know how to get a hold of us. So I think that's what we're gonna do. And I honestly am a little bit nervous, because I have no idea what happened to the family, where they are, if they're still around. I'm just nervous about it. And I think we're literally going to rock into town and just start asking people. Go to the convenience store and ask if they know the Aida family. Go to the town hall, which will be closed, I guess, because it'll be Saturday, and try to find out if people know that family and try to track them down. So that's why we're in Hokkaido. That's the whole reason we came up to Hokkaido in the first place, and that's why we're in Kamikawa, Japan. So I'm excited for this little adventure, but most of all, I'm really nervous. I have no idea why I'm nervous, but I'm very nervous. So hopefully over the next couple days we can figure that out, and I guess I'll see. I guess you'll see in a couple days. So yeah, that's it for today. A lot of talking, maybe a little bit of history about BBS history and hashtag BBS history. And I guess we'll see you guys tomorrow here in Sunkyo, Kamikawa, Japan. I'll see you there. Peace.